The transitional style in interiors allows for two contrasting styles to live together harmoniously. For this client, Sophie combined the old and the new to achieve common ground. She's here to chat to us about that. Welcome, Sophie.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for having us here. Now, let's talk about this space. What was the client's brief and where did you take inspiration?
My client is a husband and wife team who have 4 children. He wanted things very contemporary and almost minimalist. She wanted things in a more of a farmhouse style. So they're quite contrasting styles, and I had to select a type of design style that married the two. So I selected the transitional style of design so that I could combine contemporary pieces with traditional pieces.
Right, so that defines the style, but how did you draw inspiration to pull it all together?
So the inspiration actually came from a scatter cushion that my client had bought, and she showed this to me, and it had kind of muted greens and aquas and a leaf design. And also in the brief, my client told me about these living walls that they're going to be having, one downstairs and one upstairs. And so I decided to use the color palette from the living wall and from the scatter, going with leaves and nature.
Right, and so there isn't an absence of color here, it's more that it's muted in its palettes. What is that palette?
So the base palette is beige and grey, and then I've accented the common areas downstairs with greens of varying hues. Some areas are more muted and some are relatively brighter. But not bright.
Not that bright.
Not that bright.
So
no.
After achieving that harmony, how would you define what this transitional style, like where do you begin to bring two styles together? And use some examples in this space.
So for the contemporary elements in this home, we have the concrete wall, lots of glass, the epoxy coated floor, the cabinetry is all contemporarily done, the staircase with the stone and the concrete and the glass. So that covers kind of the contemporary elements in the house. And then for the traditional elements in the house, we've used some antique pieces, and we have mixed we've repurposed some of the client's furniture and added some new contemporary pieces to that.
What also really helps is that the architecture of the home actually gives you this sort of urban farmhouse feel. So all the light coming in and the indoor-outdoor feeling really help very well in that.
It does, yes.
Yeah.